And then I saw a very clear and distinctive image. I saw in the air, so not high in the heavens, just in the air above the earth, high enough for all to see. I saw a black woman with blonde hair, and she fell to earth. So I saw a black woman, and she was not a dark skinned black woman, just, a light skinned black woman with blonde hair. And she had her arms out. Sorry, they're not in the frame, but she had her arms straight out and her toes pointed down. And she was turning, so she was spinning in the air, spinning in the heavens with blonde hair. And as she was turning, she had gained momentum to where the hair was swirling around her head, just swirling. So I could not see her face. And she was wearing a black bodysuit. So a black bodysuit that had sleeves. A bodysuit is something that looks very much like a swimsuit, and she had nothing else at the bottom. So her legs, thighs, everything was bare. And then her toes pointed down. And she was turning and turning, just like we see the cars turning in at the car show, around and around. But she fell. So in the midst of everything happening, with money and people not having care and love getting cold and everything, I saw this woman fall in the midst of everything, a very long fall out of heaven to the earth. And I knew that it is this woman known as Beyonce. She fell out of the heaven, and when she fell, she hit the earth very hard at her neck, like a doll that is made of, I guess, a doll made of hard plastic or a doll made of hard wood would fall and just at the neck. I saw that this woman fell like a doll made of hard material, and she knocked her neck very hard, and then she bounced, and that's how she tumbled out of the sky and hit herself. And what had happened is she'd been turning, and she gained so much momentum, like I said, that her hair was in motion. And then something like a rope was put on one hand. So we've all seen in recent past, in the last 3 or 4 years, how many protests have sprung up around the world, and people are saying this person was a colonizer, or this person was evil, or this person kept slaves. And then they go after the statues of those people. And what they traditionally do is they will put something on the wrist of one side of the statue, and then people will pull and pull and pull until that statue finally gives way. So I saw as if a rope, but it was not a rope. Something, some kind of tether was put on one hand of this woman as she was spinning, and then hard pull, a hard downward pull is what caused her to fall. Now, when she tumbled out of the sky, a great wail went up from the earth. So there was it was like a collective, loud, sorrowing wail of grief, sorrow, and distress. The whole earth was bewailing the fall of this woman because the way that she fell was brutal. And so the shock and the disbelief that followed when this woman fell out of the sky was palpable. Nobody could believe that this woman could fall. Nobody could nobody could believe the news. Nobody could accept it. Nobody could process it. And people were shell-shocked. And as this woman fell, I saw heaven, as it were, not heaven where God is, just the sky, the upper place. And I saw many other figures up there with their arms outstretched like this, waiting to fall. And so when the body-suited figure with blonde hair fell, I saw around the world other figures turning in the sky with their arms outstretched, ready to fall, like when figs fall off a fig tree. The stars were falling, and Benny Hinn, in his familiar white garments, was one of those to fall. So everyone who knows Benny Hinn is familiar with the fact that for the last, 40 years or perhaps more, he has been wearing these signature white garments that have the mandarin collar, and he wears all white, and that is what he is known for. That is one of his trademarks. But I saw him there in that garment, and he was turning and turning with arms outstretched like a doll, and he was one of those to fall. He fell out of the sky and he broke himself. Another figure I saw was T.D. Jakes in a very sharp, dark suit, also up there. This man fell, or his figure that was out like this fell and had a very hard fall. So when he fell, he smashed down very hard, and his fall had a shattering end. So I'm not saying that I saw the physical thing where he broke into pieces. That is how the Lord put it on my heart. His fall had a shattering end, and God was angry. The Lord was very angry, and he was clearing heaven. So the Lord gave out an order of some sort and began to clear the heaven of all these misplaced human beings who had somehow managed to rise up until they were in the heaven instead of being on the earth where man has been given dominion, where man has been commanded to be. He gave an order, and the angels began to clear the luminaries from the sky. So the angels began to remove the luminaries from their places. I saw the stars falling from their places, falling, and how the people mourned on earth until the weight of their grief began to have a very horrible effect on me in the dream, because I was feeling this collective weight of sorrow and grief and tears and oh no and shock and disbelief from millions of people, and it was entering into my spirit and pressing me down so much that I felt as if I was sinking and drowning on their grief, and I wanted to escape this feeling of so many multitudes crying over losing their idols.